Well, hi guys. Paul here from PABrewNews. Just got back home from work. Blah, 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 blah. Time to start the week. The week of aged stouts. I have 5 to do this week. 2 I did 4. Didn't realize I had so many variants of stouts from the same year aged in my basement, or I probably would have figured to do this before. So right now we're gonna do Brooklyn Black Chocolate Stout from 2015. There's 2 other stouts I did previous to this from the 2015 vintage. Not sure if I want to kind of incorporate them, rate them or not. Their ratings anyway, because they're adjunct. They have bourbon and other things. These are not. All 5 brews, as far as I know, are basic. Boom Bam, Reinheitsgebot, basically just grains, no adjunct. So let's see how these 5 Imperial Stouts have stood the test of time and have been brewed since 2015 to today. So here we go. First up, what's up, brother Craig? Was just watching that hour to the infamous Manchester Piss Up Chat. I was just watching that today before I even jumped on here. So got to relive some very crazy memories. So if anybody hasn't checked out the Manchester Piss Up channel on YouTube and watching our exports when I was in England, please do so. Anyway, let's get into the 2015 Brooklyn Brewing Company's Black Chocolate Stout. Now, when I remember having this before, I was a little lackluster. It was more grain forward. There wasn't that many chocolatey points to this beer, and I remember not liking it because of that. However, it's 10% alcohol by volume. Let's see what that's done to with age. Let's see what's come to the forefront. There's the hiss. It's still got hiss. That's a good thing. So let's pour this out. Poured muted ruby hues. Brown muted ruby hues. Alright. Gotta get it all in. Let's get this thing all. There we go. There she's poured. And I'll just double check, make sure I got everything on. Brewed by the Brooklyn Brewing Company. This is their 2015 limited bottling, winter 2015. 10% alcohol by volume, as I said again. And ooh. I'm assuming Brooklyn Brewing Company is from Brooklyn, New York. Actually, it says brewed and bottled by the Brooklyn Brewery in Utica, New York. See, I didn't know exactly where they're from. Utica, New York. There you go. So there we go. Well, listening to some Cemetery Man, Della Morte, Della Morte in the background. Don't have it too loud. Just chillaxing. Up to the light, little ruby hue in the pinnacle of the glass. Other than that, it's pitch black as you would expect. Little ring of a cocoa khaki colored head. Let's get some aromas. Still a lot of ethanol alcohol coming out of there, even with that age on it. It's bringing a little bit of dark fruit with it too. I don't know. A little spicy pepper in it, a little bit of raisin. There's something I want to say star anise or something like that, but I'm not sure. There is some chocolatiness coming through, some baker's chocolate tones coming through the forefront. Roasty toasty, of course, because it was roasty as toasty as hell when it first became, so it's still there. Little hint of muted coffee. Let's get into this Black Chocolate Stout from 2015. Cheers. It's a bit thin. It's actually not very... It's still the same kind of way. It's very grain forward. Ethanol alcohol is very present. It's a lighter body. It's that kind of like high side of a medium body, basically. Waters out near the end. Copper coin mineralistic tones now at the back of the palate with a little bit of earthiness. I remember being very underwhelmed with this beer when I first had it when it was fresh, and it's still kind of giving me that same kind of lingering aspect. Roasty toasty, really grain forward, as I said. Really no chocolate at all to speak of in the overall ring. A little bit of baker's chocolate in the nose, kind of transferring a little bit to the taste in the background. Well, a lot of roasty, toasty tones, a little bit minimalistic tones, a little copper coin in the background with that earthiness from just from the roast. Ethanol alcohol, you can breathe it. It's breathing. It didn't bring any dark fruits. Is how freaking weird is that with 3 years on it? There's no dark fruits in this beer. Just very forward char, smoke, roasty, toasty tones. A little bit of baker's chocolate, as I said before. Not really any muted coffee going on at all. Just a little bit of earthiness, a little bit of realistic tone in the back. And there you have it. It's a very... I don't want to hate on the beer, but it's a very simplistic beer, and it's definitely not an as advertised beer with that black chocolate stout. You want something that's bringing some of those kind of rich tones to the table, and this just never has. I've had many different years, many different variant years, and I just have never got a good vibe from this beer. And still, with age on it, I was hoping for all that ethanol alcohol could bring in a lot of dark fruits. Still hasn't yet. There's a nice spicy pepperiness to this beer. It still seems a little bright, which is nice. You have a little bit of mutedness. I could see how there's that faint hint of dark chocolate, a muted, bitter cocoa, like 7% cacao, dark chocolate. There is a little bit of that. I'm pulling with that baker's chocolate. That being as it is, it's a very thin beer. It's there's many more examples of the style out there from different breweries that overshadow this beer. It's okay. It's okay. A little roasty, toasty, dry, bitter tone in the middle of it. Again, working out with char, a little smoke, a little earthiness, a little copper coin tones. Yeah, it's kind of the same. It sounds so. I mean, that's basically what I got out of fresh bottles of it. And this with 3 years on it, you think it would change. You think it would become more than it is. I think I'm getting a little bit more chocolate out of it now, 3 years of age, than I did originally, because that baker's chocolate, mixing it with the dark chocolate, is kind of coming through to the foreground a little bit more. Than it definitely wasn't there at the beginning. But, yeah, unfortunately, probably the low start. Hopefully a low start with a high finish for the week of aged stouts from 2015. This Brooklyn Black Chocolate, it's an okay beer. It's not an as advertised beer, I wouldn't say. I think it's below that, so below solid. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's a nice beer to have, but there's so many more better examples of the style, and especially as the as advertised part, it's not that. So I mean, it's not horrible. It's better than good. So I'm going to throw it in the 7 out of 10 category. Wow. I'm going to throw it in the 7 out of 10 category for this, but I will say for 10%, it's drinking amazingly well. That's nice. Very dangerous. DJ from DJ's BrewTube did a whole vertical of these, so please by all means go over and check out his channel. You probably have already. Great reviewer and great reviews. I'm just not digging this one. I usually didn't. Oh, what's up? Better than bad? It's good. That's right. It's better than good. It is better than good, but it's not bad. I've never been a big fan of this beer. Fresh especially. Aged, still not a huge fan of it. It's not giving the as advertised approach as it should. It's not thick enough. It's not bombastic enough. It doesn't have enough chocolate. And I'm so shocked and surprised that ethanol alcohol that was so apparent in the original is still pretty damn apparent and didn't bring any nice dark fruits with it. I was expecting this going to be a raisin bomb, you know, that kind of thing. I'm sad, but it's still a good beer overall. It's an easy drinking beer, 10% of course. You just have to be, so, you know, if you're not expecting it, you're going to be a little bit let down because, again, not as advertised. But it's not a bad beer. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10, even with age. I think I'd give it a 7 out of 10 fresh, and it didn't decline. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 aged. So, there you go. This has been Paul for PABrewNews for day 1 of the week of the aged stouts. Cheers. And thank you for everybody for tuning in. This has been Paul for PABrewNews. Cheers. Watch that finger. It's coming.